Welcome to the Curiosity and Command podcast, supported by Kaizen Summit. In each episode, we sit down with thoughtful people to explore leadership, discipline, growth, and the ideas that shape how we live and work. Today, I'm joined by my good friend, Miss Brooke Walklin. That is very formal, wasn't it?
I like that.
How are you, my love?
I'm good.
Good. So I want to kick us off and talk about your initial story of going from uni, having that plan, and then going straight into self-employed. And what was that like? What was the plan? Did you have a bigger picture plan? And why did you decide to go down that route?
So I actually graduated, you could call it a graduation, because it was COVID. So when COVID kicked off, I was in Gloucester and it was, I can't remember what month it was, but anyways, I ended up having to come home, finish off my sports therapy degree, which is obviously what you think is a very hands-on degree from the comforts of an office and a computer. So as much as a lot of people went through a lot of crap through COVID, it wasn't too bad, but it obviously wasn't the start of what I thought. You're always going to paint the perfect picture for university.
So was your final year remote then?
Yeah. No, yeah, like the last 6 months of it, however long it was remote. A hands-on degree, which you would have thought is what sports therapy is, which it kind of isn't actually. The more you look back at it, it's a bit like anything. The more time you spend in the professional world, you realize how bullshit sports training is, and how much you actually pick and choose what you use, what you utilise, what you develop. So probably it all worked out for better eventually because I enjoyed it, but it was just very different from what I thought it was. And I originally wanted to do like pitch side training, like pitch side medical, so working with football. Rugby was my biggest thing that I enjoyed. And then I realised I'd done that throughout the whole degree, and I realised that I don't want to be having to take up all my evenings, Saturdays, Sundays, minimal pay, because obviously get minimal. No, these sports teams don't get much money, so it's minimal pay, a lot of sacrifice. It's like a lot of my friends still do it, and I just think, man, you must really enjoy it. It's fun, but the money is ridiculous. So then I thought, oh, I'll do a clinic, which I originally didn't want to do. And then the closer it started getting to obviously COVID and then looking at everything, I was like, where the hell am I going to do it? Because it's COVID. Gyms are shut. I can't operate as a sports therapist. And then once I graduated and joined the SST, which is the accreditation from my university, we could work. So I could work on the premise that if people are injured, that we could take strain off emergency, like A&E and the NHS. So we were allowed to, physios were allowed to work, and sports therapists, I don't know, other ones, osteopaths would have been purely under injury basis only. So no massage therapy for therapeutic reasons. It could be to help someone's pain, which most people are in pain anyway. So I then, so when that all happened, I was at home literally looking, thinking, what the hell am I going to do? And then my dad rang me. Great to have a dad who knows everybody, but also a curse and a blessing at the same time. And he managed to find me a interview at the gym Plymouth Bodywell for a friend of a friend, and I ended up going there. I look back now and I think, what, she just fluffed it, absolutely fluffed it. But you think, I look back now, I think, thank God I've got that mentality, because you've got to have a bit of, you can have to, I don't really like the saying, but I do, make it till you make it. I actually really do like that saying, because we all have that imposter syndrome, we all do. And if we don't fluff it, fake it a bit, you don't want to be a fraud. You don't want to be a fraud with stuff, but, and I definitely was like, yeah, I can do this, I can do this. And I was confident in myself, but I just came out of university, and looking back now, I knew nothing. I've always been good with people, and that's clearly where my people skills have got me, because it then translated to somebody trusting you, and I had enough knowledge and confidence for people to trust me in my skills. But it was closed because of COVID, so then they didn't actually open until a little while after, but I was up and running before the gyms opened. So that was great for them, because they started then having clientele, I say clientele, coming through. I was fully PP'd up. The whole work, people would rock up and I look like I'm in like a hazmat suit. Just ridiculous. You look back now, what a mug. But that actually got me through because everyone was coming to me because loads of other sports therapists didn't open, which I just find mad. It's one of those things, isn't it? Like you look back now and people are like, get jabs, people, and I'm not open. It's just like, I'm not opening because to save people, save the old grannies and stuff like that. I'll have to kind of tell them. That's a bit like I just didn't see it as a. I was helping people who are injured, and that was the criteria. I'll do that. Maybe that I'm morally as more corrupt than they are. But there was only ever good intentions with it, and that's literally how it started, and then developed from there.
So, can we just double click on the imposter syndrome bit? Do you know where that came from? Is it multiple reasons?
For myself, as in personally, no, not really. I've always been confident. My mum and my dad, most of my mum was very much do it on your own. And looking back in my teen, I was like, bitch. But now I look back and I've got the stepdaughters in my life, and my mum laughs at me. She goes, "Oh my god, I'm literally just like me as a child. Like you treat them the same." And I don't think, like, thank goodness, I've always been confident. But I think where you then get confident, you start putting yourself into situations in which you're like, I've got myself here, and you look around a bit, and that's when it starts to creep up. I wasn't bullied in school. I was teased. I wouldn't quite say bullying. I would probably say actually some of it was bullying, but it's like that. You don't want to victimize yourself at that age. I didn't really. I just kind of got on with it, and it was definitely because I was confident. I was just getting teased and like wound up about certain stuff, and that definitely crept in, but definitely not to the point where I'd victimize myself over it, because I'd hate to think that's truly had an effect on me. But it's definitely one of those, like, when I feel like that boss is checking in, I think don't be worth crap or do it. It's even like joining the gym since we've started here, handing out certificates. I started doing a lot more of that, like kids, started working with kids, peewees, even at the end of class, like, right guys, please don't get this, or like put that little video in the group chat the other day of like, put your fucking shoes on. Like, you just got to do it. Like beforehand, I would have been doing shit. And like nobody actually cared. You've got to get on with your job. Everyone's in the same position. And so as soon as I think about myself being nervous and stuff like that, I remember someone saying a super simple quote that stuck with me. You are not first, and you will definitely not be the last. You're not special, so just crack on, get it done.
It's more like a mentality thing that you've kind of forged then from maybe being a bit made to feel uncomfortable at school, and then going, actually, I'm not that. You're not going to make me feel that way. Is that?
Yeah, definitely. I did cry as well, and as much as I look back now, like, I wish parents got me to jiu-jitsu or something like that. I'm so glad I've done something like that purely for like the discipline and like crack on, just get on with it, crack on. I've done a lot of competitions, and in hindsight, like when we go to a jiu-jitsu comp now and I walk into the hall and you see it all, it literally takes me back to when I was a child and I would walk into that hall for the first time and it's busy. I'm not going to sink. You are shitting your pants. And I just think what an amazing thing that I got used to that so young. I used to horse ride. Again, something that's quite problematic, being like competent riding a horse and then going to do competitions and really putting yourself out there. You just think what an awesome, like in hindsight now being older, what a sick thing your parents getting you used to that as a child. Because not much else compares to that feeling of that you're going to have to go prove yourself to a load of randomers, try not to look like an idiot.
It sounds like you've had quite a wide variety then of different activities, which has probably helped with your confidence levels, because you are confident.
Yeah, definitely. So it was karate as a child from my grandmother because they wanted something self-defense, and obviously karate was the most thing back then. Golf from my granddad because he wanted me to have the ability for networking, which obviously you do meet a lot of people, and it does put you in category of higher society people. As bad as it might seem, it's true. And then equestrian purely to keep me on the streets because it kept me at a horse yard where there was like-minded individuals where, again, their parents raised them to be pretty nice, more girls, pretty nice girls who their parents didn't want them on the streets either. So we would go out riding all the time. So really, the three of them actually gave me quite a nice roundabout, I don't know, well, experience, development, characteristics from all of them very different, but keeping me in some form of track, which is quite nice.
So then, fast forward to uni. Why did you select sports therapy? And did you have a plan, like moving forward?
No, my cousin done it. So she done it, and again, I'm clearly not that original, but I always looked up to her. We always got on, and I knew I wanted to do something sport-based, but I also knew I wanted to do something medical. I didn't want to do physiotherapy because I didn't want to be wrapped up with the NHS. And I know that, well, she educated me on the fact that physiotherapists only do a minuscule amount of musculoskeletal, whereas sports therapy is all musculoskeletal. So it's all injuries. It's still like neural systems and all of that, but it's just not your respiratory, your cardiac stuff that I wasn't really that. I wanted just enough medical, just enough of something I enjoyed, sports and all of that. And then I saw my dad played rugby for quite a number of years, and I just all remember the medics running on and off, on and off. But I'd always be more interested in them, like who's broken a leg. My mum probably put that sick side into me. Whenever we go past like an accident, she's like, "Look, girls, look." Tried to normalise it for us, I suppose. So yeah, I really wanted to do sport therapy, and I remember telling one of my, I was a bit shit really going to A-levels. I look back at that now, but I just remember one of my teachers going, "Do that. Good luck. Good luck. You want to get into that?" I did originally want to get into Chichester Uni, but I got dropped on results day. They rang me up. I got my results through, and I was missed off by a mark. But I got I don't know if you know how it works. You get the UCAS, whether you've been accepted or declined, at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and on results day, because obviously they get the results a few days before, they get printed off and sent to us. So on that morning, I was like, accepted. This is great. And then I got there, I was like, yeah, friends, we got our results, and I looked at my results, and I'm like, I didn't get the marks. It didn't hit what I needed to hit, but I've been accepted. And about half an hour into being there, celebrating, my friends got a phone call from the uni saying, so we've had to cull like, 10%, and you're one of them. We really apologise, but that's it. I was like, great. So I just went through clearing. We've lost them, so I did. I'm not only good people. And it was really good.
How did you, is that like one of the first major setbacks you had then?
Yeah, probably. Bear in mind, I went into my mum's hairdresser, and I like, cut it all off. I need a fresh start. So looking back now, I probably
Britney Spears.
I went full Britney 08. Shave it up, mum. Obviously, in hindsight, it wasn't that big. Well, it probably was. Like, I really thought I was going to be spending the next 3 years at university, which was sports therapy, and then I didn't. And then my mum was like, "I grew up in Gloucester, go there. It's great." And then we got this again, almost the same thing. I'm not the last. I'm not the first. I'm not the last. I'm actually nothing special. But it's quite saying that as well. My mum was always. I seen a quote. It's not really cringe now. I seen something the other day, and it actually made me think of this very similar situations. My mum would say to me, and it was one of the biggest things that I think. Sorry, one of the biggest issues I think they're telling kids now is, you could be extraordinary. Every kid is going to be extraordinary. You are creating a bunch of narcissistic shitbags. You really are. I'm sorry, buddy, but we're going to need people to scrub the toilets and flip the burgers. Like, we need people to be average Joes and like make this world go round. Because if we're all extraordinary, you're going to shit. Like, I don't know why you think you are the one, Neo. You are the chosen one. And it's so true. Like, you are putting a lot of shit in kids' heads these days, and you are creating little bastards. And I mean, you do see it at the gym here, especially in the Pee-wee's class. And we've never had parents. Well, we probably have, but we don't really have much problematic parents. We only have problematic kids, and they often come to us and say, "It's going to sound so bad. I promise I'm not slagging any parents off," but you can see where a lot more so mums are just so forgiving to their children, and they're like, "Yeah, do what you want, little Timmy. Like, it's fine. Don't worry." It's that same analogy of being, you're so great. You're so awesome. Fresh are you? But no, you're not going to be like that. And it's very much the same thing. If my mum was like, "Just crack on. Like, you ain't the first, not the last. You're nothing. She wouldn't say you're nothing special, but she wouldn't let me play on my problems as if they were something. It was never a victimization of anything. So back to Brittany 08, I do think that mindset. She went, "Yeah, all right, cut off." She loved it. She was a psychopath. I had hair down to my ass cheeks. She was like, "Yeah, all right," into a bob. And I went, "Actually, you wanted me to do it?" Again, another life lesson of like, if I make decisions when I'm in an irate state, I'm going to regret it. And I did regret it. But in turn, it was another lesson learned to like calm the fuck down.
That is an excellent lesson to live by, that emotions controlling you rather than you being in control of your emotions.
Yeah.
I just want to double click on, so you said there's no problematic parents, but there's problematic kids, wherever the kids learned it from.
Exactly. But in the sense of when they come here, they're never, what's the word? They never disagree with us. So when I was to say something to them, I'm like, well, actually here we do like this, you can see them like, yeah, right. Like, yeah, okay. Like, let's do it like that. And they've never been like, no, don't do this to our kid, or no, don't do that. Or when we have had certain situations, we had a kid not wanting to train with another kid, or we have that quite a lot. Can you not put little Timmy with a little Johnny, or like, do you know what I mean? Like something like this. And I'm like, wow. And I won't speak to them. I'll speak to the parent and I'll often say it quite quietly, like, I'm going to talk to them, but I'll try and convince them not to want to do that. Because if we stop them training with one kid now, what's going to happen when they find the next kid? And it's excuse after excuse after excuse. And I say to the kid, like, if we do this now, then what happens the next time? And all the times, parents really do agree with us. And like you said, the kids are coming in problematic for a certain reason. The parents are problematic at home, whether it's a single parent household or double parent household where one doesn't pick up. You just don't know. But when they come in, they often do. When I explain it to a lot of parents, when I'm trying to sell the place, I'm like, there's always a place for any child, any problem or issue. You have kids who need the confidence build up, and then you need kids who need bringing down and a bit of, not controlling, but a bit of like swaying in the right direction. Over time, you end up bringing them all very different, but all onto the same plane of respect, discipline, same sort of things I would have learned in karate, but very different sport. But yeah, the parents have all been lovely here, give or take a few, but they all do really respect us and the things that we do. Hopefully you've seen it now. Little Theo's been coming in now, and you do see a lot of the parents fully engrossed. Do you know the best thing as well is when you see parents engrossed in other parents, when you see them engrossed in other children, you truly recognise about how emotionally invested they are as a team of them all. We went to a competition, and one of the lads in the older class, it was his first comp, and one of the dads, he's no lad, but yeah, one of the dads, he's like, and he don't say much. He is like silent but deadly sort of character. He always comes out with golden ones, and he was like, "Why am I crying over other people's kids? Why am I crying for the guy?" Like, do you know what I mean? He's looking at them all, and I'm like, it's taps, it's mad. And then when you start seeing the behavioural change in your own child and in other children's, and how different it is, and how closely they start bringing that gap to each other, it's really nice. It's really sweet, especially for the parents. I think it really helps guide some of the parents' decisions. Like, you see Kenny, our head coach, on the sideline, screaming intensely at his children for the right reasons. He knows what he's doing. And then the parents, they come in and they're like, what's going on? And then eventually they start following suit. They understand their kids need pushing. We don't know your kids like you know your kids. Like, we would never claim to know that. So that's why we like to have an open gym, so you can shout at your kid. And you know your kid's been a lazy little shit bag. We want you to shout at them. Maybe don't offer them technique advice. Leave that with the coach, unless you know it's something super basic or simple, or you train yourself. But when you start getting emotionally invested in your kid and pushing them for the right reasons that you know it should be done, a little bit like how my mum was just like, get the hell on with it, and not giving them the space, they stop turning into little victims, which is not
It's a massive topic, and I don't think that it is talked about enough. By not allowing people to fail, you're setting them up to fail, because life is going to happen to you, whether you like it or not. There's going to be events that are outside of your control. But if you've never experienced that, you've got no tools to be able to understand it and accept it. And that's when problems arise as an adult. Yeah.
Like we said the other day, so bad, but like those kids that their parents stop coming, or they give in to them, so yeah, he doesn't really like it, or he doesn't really enjoy it, or it's more so the boys. I see the problem. It's going to sound bad, but like when boys get a certain age, they don't understand violence or conflict or any form of teasing. They will flip. They will flip a day, and they will take it out closest person to them, usually their mother or their girlfriend. And that is how a lot of these male characters, I feel, are getting more prevalent now. I think it was so much more prevalent. Granted, you'd get wife beaters back in the day and all of that, but inevitably, when you would have had a bit of conflict at the pub with someone, you understand that's real conflict. Or have been used to being on their games, or being coddled by mum. Being coddled by mummy, no, don't hit back, or don't do this. And then when they get into the real world world out there, and they think they can say something to a bloke and have no repercussions because the law is stopping them, and that bloke gets out of his car, and then you start flicking out. Or when your girlfriend has a go at you for the first time, and you don't actually like confrontation or something, you slap her because you're not used to confrontation, because you've just been coddled your whole life. Big repercussions happen. You can see it. It's so sad. So sad. You can see it in a lot of kids.
So are you consciously aware as a gym manager, you do a lot with the kids classes here.
Yeah.
Is it a very conscious decision of we are helping to shape the adults that these children become?
I have like a lot of gyms, and a lot of people end up loving it for that reason, but a lot of MMA, more jiu-jitsu gym. Like, bullying is needed. A healthy amount of bullying, teasing is needed. Like, you're going to get teased when you're older and kick off. All right, you ain't lasting long in a job. You ain't lasting long with your missus. Your family ain't going to want to sit around with you at the Christmas table because you're wet and you're kicking off about shit. Like, no. But then again, I know it comes back to the parents. Sometimes the parents have been giving into this kid for too long because they're almost, what did I see the other day? It was a really nice one. It was by you doing too much for your children, you're stealing their self-esteem to fill a void that you don't have for yourself. I just think it's so prevalent because you are literally creating a weak child to deal with a problematic world out there.
It comes from a place of love. It does.
It does.
It's all from, I think I'm doing the right thing by hiding, protecting. In my experience, it's a lack of understanding of what the repercussions of that kind of behavior then produces.
100%. And it's that lack of, this is where I think, especially cameras, the laptop, TV, it's just nullified our brains to true social interaction, for the sense of almost being a third person looking at that baby or looking at that child, thinking what is truly the best thing for it. But because you see so much on social media, oh, I'm taking my child here and there, and da-da-da, or another kid's got a phone and your kid hasn't got a phone, you just feel bad for your kid has got a phone to be left out, and you're worried about your kid being bullied. How about you teach your kid not to get bullied? How about you teach your kid not to not get teased by these other losers who think it's okay to do that? But that's the characteristics I'd rather build than give a child whatever it needs. That's what they get. Yeah.
So what's the difference between actual bullying and character building? Because there is a line.
There is a line, 100%. There's a line on the reason for it.
The intention.
The intention behind it. It could be spiteful. If there's like nastiness and spitefulness behind it, it's too far. It's too far. But as an adult, if you're a decent adult, and this is where we're so lucky with the coaches we've got and the parents we have around, because as parents, it's your job, I think, to guide your child into, what's the word, like, making them realise what a real problem is. Like my mum, again, back to her, She's like, whatever, it's not a real problem. It's not a real problem for you right now. I'm telling you now. So you might as well just crack on and get it done. And it's as you get older, you start to realise what an actual problem is. It's almost like sometimes you get to a point, maybe when you're 10, then 15, then 20, and you realise, oh, I am now mourning my teenager self because I've actually now grown up to realise what proper problems. And it's like a little bit of naivety dies within inside you. And then as I was getting older, now I've got my stepdaughters in my life. I'm like, part of me is almost not died, but like a bit of naivety is gone because I'm like, well, that's not really problems anymore. Like that's something else. But then as a decent adult, you should be able to tease a child about what not an actual problem is. And that's where, because now you're binding humour to it, they start looking at it in a funny way. So it's a bit like when me and Kenny are ripping one girls up. But from when they were younger, like Rhea, a 6-year-old, she understands wit and sarcasm and piss taking like no child I've ever met at that age. And she will give it back and she'll look at me like, I mean, got me, sort of thing. But if we didn't do that, like their mum as well, between all three of us, we're all great at that. And they don't deal with any shit in general. They don't get off, they don't stop their feet because we bully them. But again, there's no nastiness or maliciousness behind it because whether it's a topic of discussion, whether it could be something to take the piss out of, but to them it's like an actual real problem, a real issue. That's when you wouldn't, and when you would talk to them, or when it's serious, it's the.
So what I'm hearing is that it's like a form of exposure therapy.
Yeah, I like that word.
Yeah, so it's like if you've got a peanut allergy, it's small doses to build up the tolerance, and then by the time you come to have a full peanut, you're easy.
And if you trip it. But it's the same in here. Once we get to know the kids' characteristics and classes, even Kenny with the adults, once he starts to know the characteristics of that adult, you will get exposed more. In a good way, in a very good way, because inevitably, you're here for a reason. Like, if you want to fight, if you want your kids to be able to fight, they're going to have to tap into some form of good monster within them and either learn how to tame it. Kids should learn how to tame their spitefulness or their kicking off at their parents, something like that. And then again, blokes who, for example, never actually learn how to fight properly, I think they're Billy Big Bollocks, walking into a gym and get humbled very quickly by like a half-sized female. You're going to get exposed, and we'll laugh about it because it is laughable. You're going to stay. If you're any good decent person, you're going to stay it. If you enjoy it, you're going to stay it. So you're going to keep getting exposed, and then you'll get built up. It's almost that thing like we expose. It's going to sound bad, but you expose them to tear a person down to their bare necessities, and then you build them. A little bit like the kids in here. You have to learn their ways and what triggers them a little bit, and what their triggers are, to expose them, to rebuild. Be like, you're doing awesome. By the end of it, like you can tell what they don't like, what they do like, and you always then praise them for building on what they don't like. So if we praise them what they do like, it's boring.
Can you talk about what it's like for you seeing that transformation in the kids?
Yeah, sort of. So we had. Were you in the other week when Will's daughter Amelia?
No, I heard about it.
Yeah, I was like crying. I get really emotional now thinking about it, but I don't know how. Bless Amelia, she's gone through some like turmoil with the sport. Obviously, Will does jiu-jitsu. The mum's very supportive as well, so they kept on bringing her in when Amelia sees fit. I can imagine. I don't know what she's like at home, but in here she would kick off, she would cry, never in a spiteful way, but more in a way where she was confused. I think she was confused about the sport and the fact she was having to put herself through this. She was never aggression. Like she didn't have that in her. She did at points, but then she'd be like, no, like, and then cry or something. And then it just switched one day. Absolutely switched. And I remember there was a few periods and I'm like, right, I'm not giving, like, Amelia, I'm done. I'm not giving in to being nice anymore to you. You're going to do this and you're going to do it well. And you're actually going to do it well. And she just turned around and went, okay. And I was like, oh God, if I was this straight with her all along, like we could have saved so much time. But recently, as soon as I've been like, stop, now she goes, okay. And I'm like, bless her. It took that little while because she was such like she's quite a small girl, bless her, and she's built. She's just small for her age, very slim. So I always felt that a little bit like I didn't want anyone to hurt her, and obviously I'm sure Will and Mum were a bit cautious, like anything, cautious of her. And we always are particular with what kids go with who, so they don't get pushed off, but they also need to be tested. I was always a little bit more cautious with Amelia, and then once I just realised that talking to her so directly and blunt is what she thrived off, I was like, we're going to save her a lot of time. But she got the Pee Wee trophy of the week, and she is a pure example of what jiu-jitsu do with a child. She does shit now, which she's never. I said to Will the other day, I was like, what are you teaching? She's like, I swear I'm not teaching anything. The Pee Wee's class, which is 3 to 7, do shit that you think, you never, like, just sit through, take the back, sit through, take the back. And I'm looking at it and Will's like, it's just innate in her, is it? It took a long time for it to come out. But because wrestling is innate for kids and animals, as you get older, it's socially, unacceptable to wrestle, so you lose your natural ability of wrestling. So when you see 3-year-olds doing it, you think, but that's why they changed the Pee Wee class quite a lot over the years. They never used to have the wrestling back at another gym they were at. They never used to have the wrestling as half the class. So now we do 15 minutes of fun wrestling style games, and then 15 minutes of me as a coach. I'll bring 2 kids out, and I'm like, all you want to do is get each other down, squish each other, go, and they just do it. I'm like, shit bags.
Much high level emotional intelligence there is from the back end stuff that people don't really see about what goes into how you match and how you develop. And like you said there, it's gone on an evolution that I think to the lay person gets missed in how much actually people take this seriously and want the best for the kids, and that the only result is what's best for them.
Yeah, literally. If you look back now, speaking to Kenny, Jordan and Will, the kids coaches, some of these kids who've been training with us for, say, 3 months could have wiped the floor with kids, say, 3 years ago who were training for a year. Absolutely muller them, because it's constant progression here, not even just within the children, but within the coaches, because a coach's understanding. It's quite funny, actually. So where Kenny's 2 youngest now, 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, now they're getting older, his coaching style, I can see, is changing because he's coaching them every day for half an hour before class, getting through to them. It's given him that, like, passion again, not just for the sport, but for coaching. And he's developed so much. And because of over the years, Jordan and Will have developed as athletes and as coaches under Kenny. And it's been more of I will give you the fundamental basis of it, and your coaching style will be your personal coaching style, as well as your game will always be your personal style of game. They've then now understood the foundations of their teaching. They get through to different kids, like I get through to different kids, very differently. Me, Will and Jordan, I suppose, are very different in all regards. Obviously, I don't understand it as much as them two, but I probably understand, not but our personal connection a little bit more, whereas their coaching is just far exceeds anything I could imagine at the moment. But they're now able to teach the kids about the fundamentals, and the kids are then teaching the new kids about almost the fundamentals of stay safe, stay protective, or base posture, connections, all of those sorts of things. The kids don't even realise they're doing it. But because in turn now we've got this big cycle that's going on, these kids who are coming in are insane. The same with the adults. 3-month white belts today could kick the ass with a year white belts Kenny's a few years ago. And now we're here and everything's a lot more concentrated. We're all a lot closer since we left the previous gym. So much closer. And it's definitely giving Kenny and the coaches like a reboot up the ass, that this is what matters, and getting everyone better. As much as it's not an industry, you can't really force to do sport, really. Like, you rely on each other so much.
A couple of things it brought up for me there is the importance of relationships, like with you guys building the relationship as the coaching and the management team with everyone, parents, children, and the adults, but also the importance of the community. Can you talk about how that is?
Yeah, so the wider thing of the community around, we've also got a lot of other gyms around us. So everyone who comes here, and all the parents, all the kids who say have come from other gyms, or parents who have come, they all compliment the atmosphere, all compliment it. And we go to some other gyms and you can't watch your kids, or you can't watch the class. It's going to sound a bit bad. Innately, this is what I think. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? You hiding? I don't want to make it seem like anything dodgy, but what are you hiding? Are you hiding your lack of connection with the kids? Are you hiding your lack of confidence in your coaching? Are you hiding the facility? Do you know what I mean? Like everything, especially as like a stepmom now, everything goes through my mind. Like I previously we took the girls to a gymnastics gym, and she was like, "Oh, sorry, you can't come in." No, I can't come in. She goes, "Oh, for today's session, you can just sit beside and watch and see how they got on." Thank God I did. Never send her back there. Never. I was like, "You ain't going there." Girls enjoyed it because it was fun. But I went in, facilities shocking, coaching shocking. The inability for the coaches to actually connect with kids, shocking. It's just like, no wonder you love it. You're basically running around. But it's the same here. We're open, and it creates this vibe between everyone. Everyone knows their place. Parents know their place. Coaches know their place. Kids know their place. Even the best ones are, say, if the mum or dad's been bringing them for a while, and then the other parent comes in, and you see the kid kicking ass or doing something awesome, and they're like, "This is awesome." It's different reactions. Usually the mums are like, "Oh," the first few times. The dads come in, you see them like, "Fuck yeah, this is sick." And they end up joking, or Will ends up taking the piss out the kids, or Kenny's shouting or taking the piss or anything like that. Mostly you see the dads and they're like, "Fuck yeah, this is sick." It is really nice. And it's even like, for example, we've got one of our peewees, Joey, one of jazz fans, Joey, because he's just been a little bit of a Billy Elliot sort of character to start with. Such a sweet kid, and his mum and dad are so nice. But his dad just wouldn't let up. He wouldn't let up. He was just go, 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 and he would just take the mick out of him. I think once he realised that he's quite a similar character to Kenny and taking the mick out of the kids, he's like, yeah, he's getting it now. And then when Joey's getting beaten up, he's cheering on the other kid. Get him, smash him. But innately, Joey's gone from jazz hands Joey to like really kicking ass now. It's just really nice to see. And that again, that is props to the community feeding itself. When you have a true community, you don't really need to do a lot. So once you've been that catalyst to start it, it will look after itself. You've got to have someone to stay and keep in charge, like pick out the bad apples, because you're gonna they will rot the whole group. But once you do it right, everyone's on par, and that's why we've grown, especially over these past 2 years doing this new location, because everyone feels the emotional connection to the face after everything that happened. Everyone keeps everyone else in check, which is really, really nice.
Is cultivating that community something that you're consciously aware of?
Yes, purely because Kenny being my partner, I see how much he has to think about it. I don't think many people actually realise what goes on behind the scenes for him as the dictator of the gym. But because he's consciously thinking about it, innately I am a bit of a problem solver, like carer. I innately I will try to help people take the mental load off them. And being a gym manager, cleaner, PA, charity worker,
Everything. All the hats.
But I do see that as now I've started to recognise how much actually goes on in looking after everyone. Like you don't really get it. We've had a couple of people come from other gyms recently, and they just love the vibe. Cringe it is vibe, but because the coaching is up to par, we also have the community atmosphere which is up to par. We've got everything. There's always progression. That's how it's gotten to this point. We'd never say we'd hit the ceiling, but we're so lucky. Like sometimes we look around and we think, like, yeah, like this is awesome. But I do recognise how much of a mental toll it takes on the head coach to look after the gym, and not just the bills, the mats. It's the people. You have to stay on. You just have to. And especially because we've got so many different personality types at the gym. People have different beliefs, politics, different ways of training, different coaching styles, but fundamentally we're all the same and we all have the mutual respect. You just wouldn't be able to find people who are so outspoken in the same building, because that's what it is. Like no one minces their words. Maybe a bit, but like nobody truly minces their words here. In morning class, I can imagine. Well, I know it's very similar. Evening class is very similar. The parents to the kids, the coaches to the kids, the kids to each other. No one really minces their words, but they know the line. Everyone knows the line. Like, do not cross, because the dictator. But that's where you need someone like that. And if you remove that person, you're just going to create lots of mini versions of that person who cannot live up to the job, and that's happened somewhere else. And you will then self-destruct because you've taken out the one person who could look after everyone without actually having to do too much physical stuff. It's more of the mental to know that if you cross that line, you're just God. Someone who holds their moral standards so high, you fuck up and you're gone. Like there's no second chance. There is, depending on what has happened, but everyone knows that everyone's got that same boundary here, which we know.
We talk a lot about that mission first. No one person is bigger than the mission, and that, or fill in the blank of the team, the community, etc. And I think it's so important to protect that. Can you talk about what it is like behind the scenes? What is it like for you two running the place, and what is the cost of it?
The cost of it all. The cost, like any form of self-employment, as well. You are 24/7 on it. The group chat's going off. The emails are coming through. The bills are coming through. Paying people back. People who have helped us. It's more the consciousness for us, particularly, to recognise how much people helped us in a really difficult time. Even though we're 2 and a bit years on now, it's just being so conscious how much people, like anyone in anything, we all settle when things happen, and then we get used to us settling. Once we get used to it, we all become complacent with a lot of stuff, and you just can't do it. You can't do it if you want to keep progressing. Like the sport has here, the coaching has here, the same with the gym. It's just I was saying this to another couple of the guys the other day, parents as well, parents who train with us as well. We love it. We just can't believe little Lee and his Mrs. Leanne, really nice parents who just get it. And they were like, what are you going to do? Like when this class gets too big, like you have to move, or what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, moving is expensive. It is ridiculously expensive. But when we were starting up the place at the previous location, we had classes running up to 9 o'clock. And when we were looking at here, we were like, there's just no point. We need to fill classes and not become angry at the place because we're spending too long here. We don't pay anyone in the sense of no one gets a wage. We all get given obviously things, and everyone gives and takes the gym. Everyone understands how much of a personal development process it is to help out, because it's hard to explain. People who know jiu-jitsu or know MMA know that the more you give in, the more you get in terms of gratitude, personal development, which a lot of the time is more than a monetary value.
Yeah, so it's more than that. If anything becomes transactional and you're doing it for something in return, then you start to change the way that the relationship is built. It's more about being in service. I hadn't really understood what that means until recently, and then the more I kind of dig into it, the more I feel that if you're in a position to give way more than you can take, do so. You will pay it forward in so many other ways, and you will unlock so much more of life if you give. If you're in a position to, because you're not always going to be like that.
It gets to a point where you reflect on it, and there's a sense of mortality or guilt when you look around and you think, well, I've been a bit selfish there, or do you know what I mean? Start thinking. I think definitely you need to talk about that, because you're a selfish little shitbag. You are. uni students are selfish, but especially if you go on nights out or you think you can just be loud, walking around and all that. But then coming here and then realising a little bit like that person inside you dies, like you end up mourning your early 20s and your late teenage years, things like that. But coming here and realising how much needs to happen behind the scenes to make it all work. But yeah, like I was saying, we kind of pre-layered the timetable to not be too full that we're all getting pissed off at the place. So now the place is growing and we've got that extra hour at the end of each night. We are in a place that we can start within the next 6 months to a year, actually start looking at developing the place that a little bit more. The place where we don't actually have to expand, we don't actually have to worry about bigger place with more overheads or another investment to shift everything over, rebuild. It's a lot, and you shouldn't get ahead of yourself. Like there's plenty of time, and you don't need to fully rush with it. We've got to the point now where we again get complacent with that, and you just couldn't turn away from it. Again, seeing the kids, seeing Amelia getting her Pee-wee class, Pee-wee trophy, the sorts of things to do it for. And it's quite funny actually. Last Christmas seminar, we was lining up, and I was with the white belts, and I don't think, again, a lot of them were actually from your morning class, so they knew me as being behind reception and don't know me, do you know what I mean, as well, or whatever it was. And people were getting stripes, and they were like this. Obviously, it's been like 4 years since I've started. I was a white belt, why not? But I'm there with them, and I'm like laughing, joking. They're like, "This is so fucking cool. 2 stripes, like you got 2 stripes." And I'm like, I actually forget how exciting it is for these people. I told Kenny after, and Kenny's like, he's just got some autism, so he forgets to put himself in other people's shoes. Like, he really has not a problem with that, but it's almost that reflection thing. He's like, I truly forget what that feeling's like. Most of us do. Like, I was still a white belt down there with them, but like, because I started 4 years ago and I'm hardly training, I was like, frick me, like, it's so mad. But how like magical for a grown man to go through something like that, and then in turn to carry on. I think most of them have carried on, and it's coming to fruition. Or you get your blue belt, and you end up working your way up that Christmas, like over the next few years up the wall, sort of thing. But
it's a really interesting point, and we've kind of come full circle here. Like the child development of, they're crying, they're upset, they're overwhelmed, they're uncomfortable, they don't want to do it, they feel like they want to quit. If you can work through that, you get to become an adult that is able to work through it and to achieve something that you've worked so hard for, because adults feel it just as much as kids do. And when you turn up and you're consistent and you're getting smashed and people are developing all around you, and you have to hold that mirror up and be like, right, who am I? Am I actually getting this? You know, am I doing the uncomfortable bit, or am I avoiding certain people? Am I avoiding certain positions and all of that? And then you get that little bit of tape on a belt, but it means the world to people.
It makes all this materialistic shit around you feel like, and it truly shows you what, again, I think more so for the blokes, because it actually shows you what the force of arm can do and actually should be able to do. But yet we've been surrounded by the social development of laws. You can't do this because I'm going to be doing it 6 o'clock in the morning. I've been rolling around with 20 guys that showed them up for an hour and a half. And then you think you've got a problem here. You're obnoxious little twat. And I think for blokes, it gives you that sense of, oh shit, like, one, I wish I'd done this sooner. And two, a lot of my problems aren't really problems anymore because you understand how to hold yourself.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson is very articulate in the way that he describes it. And he puts it so well that if you don't know how to defend yourself, you're not being nice, you're being helpless, because you've got no option. But if you're capable of massive amounts of violence, now you're a really nice person because you're in full control. And that makes someone such an incredible human being, to be capable, no matter if you're talking about jiu-jitsu, you're talking about being able to fix a car, build an extension, do whatever, be capable in life the more capable you are, the higher the chance of you being a great human being.
It's almost like that was the warrior in the garden. So you just got to almost back to the kids. You've got to create these kids to be completely independent in this problematic world and be able to do great things again, like a man being able to use a force arm if he needs to or sees fit, or if he sees fit but understands that he could do it but it's not the right time, he can show mercy and not do it. That's not weakness. I think that's where a lot of people are abused violence and aggression, or the lack of it. You're a nice person, you shouldn't do that. No, a lot of these people are weak. A lot of these people are weak, and the right people who do show it have shown it for the right reasons.
And that weakness makes people dangerous because you're now unpredictable.
You've got to have that good monster within you. You have to. There are bad people everywhere. Bad people always exist. You've just got to have a bad person on your side to defeat the bad people.
Mm.
And that's where I think a lot of people these days, especially women, it's really sad. I only came to this conclusion, but I think it's you grow up as a teenager very liberal, and then when you have responsibilities, your opinion often changes, or you do a sport like this and you realise, no, a bloke could put me up regardless. Like, you get Ronda Rousey and then you get Dave down the pub, and I'd actually probably put my money on Dave down the pub because just, yes, skill, she might catch him, but inevitably one punch, or he'll just be getting back up again, a couple of punches. But it's just these weak people who think violence is not the answer. Inevitably, it always will be. So whether or not you sort it out now or you let the problem boil till it overspills, and then there's true violence. I know I'd rather it. Merciful men more so on my side.
It's a great analogy that you put there, and what does it stir up for you when you think that kind of situation there? Is it I need to train to protect myself? Is it I need to train to understand myself? Is it train to understand human psychology, human behavior?
The training side of it for me came into just I need to understand where my level is. I need to understand that I cannot go, stop there. Stop. What the fuck is that? Fucking winds me up when these self-defense gyms. Do you know what? It gives women false hope. And this is where it grinds me, because the coaches know this. Anyone who does this, no, you're a fraud. You are a fraud. Same with karate. You are a fraud. For the art of being able to do something, yes, I can understand that learning to do katas and, do you know what I mean? It's exercise. I don't actually blame anyone for that. What really grinds me is when you think that you can use it as some form of self-defense, especially for women. It ain't helping you. You need to know you should have ran 10 seconds ago, when you have been deciding whether you can attack this man or you had 10 seconds to run, or you had 10 seconds to grab your kids and run. How on earth do you I know how on earth it happens, because coaches are giving them false hope. Come do our self-defense. So there was an incident in Plymouth, where we are, in St. Budo, and a girl almost got pinched. Young girl, I can't remember, 12 to 14, something like that, walking home, and it was everywhere. She got catcalled, got grabbed, almost put in a car, something like that. And on a famous page in Plymouth, Gossip Girls, I'm sure you're highly aware of it, there was the dispute of, come join our self-defense class, you will learn how to do X, Y, Z. And I just lost my shit, and I put another post up saying, I can't remember the specifics of it, but disputing that and saying, no, you actually need to learn how to fight properly and understand when it is your time to run or time to fight, like to actually fight, not self-defense fight, like jab them in the eyes and scratch the shit out of them and just go, go, go. Because if you're not put under pressure like jiu-jitsu does for you, and you're put under pressure and someone false grabbing you from behind because you're in this shitty self-defense class, that's not pressure, because you know you're about to get out of it. The real pressure is when some bloke's on top of you for 5 minutes, not giving you a lead, like, do you know what I mean? Not giving you anything, and you just keep on fighting because you understand that staying calm is your best friend. You ain't staying calm in those situations out there. And that is the biggest telltale for women. Can you stay calm and make the right decision, whether you run or whether you fight till you've got nothing left? The stats will always show you don't give up. Like you constantly fight, you don't give in. As soon as you give in, something worse happens to you. Or if you put yourself in that position because you've got that false confidence, it's done.
So it's more dangerous than beneficial.
It's just fraud. Like, I genuinely now see it as morally corrupt. Truly do see it as morally corrupt. You're just gaining money. You're gaining money, and you've created this false belt system around this sort of stuff, and you're getting money from it. It's something different when it's for sport, but when you're actually like trying to help the ladies, help the girls, like no, get them into jiu-jitsu and actually like get them
Pressure test it for real.
Yeah, pressure test it for real, and that's how you do it. If you actually cared, if you truly cared, you know what you're doing. Let's not be like idiots now, but it's just morally inept people who would rather put a paycheck over it. Just grinds me. And this is where people would think I'm being really nasty. Just let them. What's wrong with it though? If they can do it, then so can you. You can also do it. Yeah, because people are going to take the weaker option. So you take a female or a child, maybe not so the children, because children like rough and ready, but see the two, see some self-defense class, and then see this. They're going to, most of them, like, I'm sorry, but women are pretty weak when it comes to combat, which we're meant to be. We are meant to be the weaker sex. We're not meant to fight. We're not built for it. I truly believe that. And this isn't me being like some feminist, like, oh, we can do it the same. I actually don't think we're meant to. But if we're going to do it, we do it right. And we actually do it for real reasons. And if you have the two in front of you, most women will probably pick the self-defense class because it looks like really proper and it looks easy. Let's be honest, you're a victim and it looks easy. It looks like less work for you. So you're going to pick that. And that's where they're getting stitched up. Because there shouldn't be the two options. It should be, let's do this for the right reason.
Yeah. So it comes down to, I've talked a lot about this, and I've talked a lot about with Kenny, about truth seeking and taking the easy option. And you will never achieve greatness by taking the easy option, but it feels comforting. It feels like a little warm blanket that I've taken option A or the gnarly route. It's going to be a rough ride, but the end result is far better.
But this is where those people, and I don't blame them, they've been misled. They've been misled because a lot of people, especially women, when it comes to combat or anything like that, you can be tricked, misled, because you don't actually have an innate want to do combat. It's just not in us. Like, there will always be outliers. There will always be female athletes in your local gym, Jordan. Do you know what I mean? Like there will always be those outliers, but on a whole, it's a male sport. It is. If you're going to argue that, then a bit like special, but we're just not built for it, and that's why you can mislead them, and that's where you get the mums, and that is where you get these local karate clubs who are chain, like franchise ones. They're like, oh, come do this, and you're going to get your new belt. They've done so well. They've come to 10 sessions. They get their next belt. Keep paying us, and they're just going down. This sort of shit, and you just think, and the mums are so proud of them. But again, there's not much blame because they don't know the difference. But when I do see the difference, and I will judge the mums more so. I'm only saying this because I am a female and I can see it. I would never like to think I could see myself from a male perspective. I'm more closely linked to a female, so I can kind of see it from their perspective. When I do see a woman, a mum specifically, see what we do here, and just innately not like it, I just see weakness. I think you've got your own self-loathing problem that you actually haven't dealt with yourself, and you're somehow taking children.
So it was really timely because what's coming up for me there as you were talking is about the personal journey that you have gone on from not getting into the university that you wanted and forming your opinions and your look at life and your mindset over this kind of journey. And I want to be respectful of your time, but can you just talk about where you were then and to who you are now? Because just over the course of this conversation, there seems like quite a big transformation in the way that you see the world.
Yeah.
And becoming a stepmom in that time as well, like a massive responsibility and level of awareness that you have to do, because now it's not about you, it's about bringing up two young girls, and that's a hell of a thing. Are you aware of the journey that you've been on, and can you kind of reflect on
that begins
baby Brooke?
Baby Brooke, like, props to my mum, bless her. Like, no parents ever perfect, but she was around a lot more. Like, my dad was, I still almost your typical dad, in and out, not in a bad way, but like just not as present as what a mum is. But I find it so sad. I look back now, the lies that are almost spun to young girls nowadays about being a career woman and you can do this. You don't need no man. Let's be independent. You don't need this. And then you go to uni and it's almost amplified. It's just full of liberals. Like, it's just a liberal mentality, which I have to stop being so weak in the sense of, oh, I get it. I don't get it, because most adults know, and a lot of adults have been corrupted to think that way. And then the fact that you pass that down to kids, it's just odd. Starting my own business was that first change of, oh shit, I don't actually agree with half this stuff that I've been led to think was okay as a child. Especially getting into like a sort of a medical style, medical degree, but a science degree. Like, me being convinced as a 13-year-old to go on contraception, never have, like, do you know what I mean, never having sex with it, but just to fill my body with hormones to stop my periods to make it easier. I can't believe now how many young girls are being pumped with hormones. What on earth is going on there? That was almost my first thing at university, which I thought, because I was living on my own or whatever, medical degree. I remember thinking, that's tap. And then I was always under, I don't want kids. I don't need children. Like, what the hell? And then I met my partner with kids, and that was almost another. And I was like, why wouldn't I want this? Like, instantly, this is so much fun. Why on earth wouldn't I want this? And again, not instant, but over the course of the period, I just thought, what? Again, it's more specifically, I think, to most women and most young girls say, but what lies we've been like slowly indoctrinated with propaganda, older generation, and I've almost taken my confidence has stayed. I've almost stayed the same sort of person, but come to fruition of actually realistically what are women built for? We are built to be mothers, and we're built to be caregivers. And do I want to work? Not really. Like, if I could go back and say, I would honestly say, take my right to vote away, and I won't have to go, and I won't have it. I trust my partner enough to vote for us, and I wouldn't be with someone who I didn't trust to vote for us and the good intentions for our family. It just baffles me, and it even more baffles me now because it's solidified how I feel. Seeing the kids, seeing the coaches, seeing the fruit. Like, this gym is like its own mini world. You have so many different personality types. You have your government, you have your overseeing people, but innately it all works well because we're all on the same level and we all respect each other. There's that common respect. One person wants something done or changed, like, it gets done. And I just think there's just such distaste for, what's the word, our innate responsibilities as human beings these days, as a male and female. And I just find it really sad that we've been tricked. We've fully been tricked into the opposite. And I think luckily my confidence has kept me through discovering that and not second guessing myself, and learning through Jordan Peterson, Chase Hughes. Andrew Wilson is also a very, very good one who I very much enjoy. I just find it sad. I actually find it quite like almost like that mourning process again. You see a little bit of yourself to tell, but I wouldn't change it. Like, no regrets because you learn from it. which is quite mad. I've never been a religious person until the past year. I was always very like anti, and then I realised how much religion actually creates functioning society. And the joke of whether you believe in a sky daddy or not, you know that it actually creates a better society, the better, also children to become better, to become better adults.
The kind of running theme that has come up through this whole conversation is finding truth and questioning things, and that's what was really coming up for me. There is you questioning as a young teenager, why should I be taking hormone affecting chemicals? Why should I be affecting the norms of man-made constructs, etc.? And has that been a freeing experience, or has it been a overwhelming experience?
Overwhelming in every, not work. I don't mean not work. I would honestly rather work throughout the day at home. Mums will know, obviously, that staying at home, it's not as taxing per hour, but you're doing it all the time. We're built for that. We're built for that slower pace, constant. Whereas men, you're intense, you're in and you're out sort of thing. Well, not, but like over your course of a 9 to 5 or whatever it is, you're more so built for that, and then you relax and then you go out hunting again. Whereas we will, do you know what I mean? We look after the place, and I always innately knew that. And then once it came to fruition, I truly believe, I was like, yeah.
I think it is a real disservice to humanity that societally in the West we don't put as much value on non-paid work. There is no difference to me. Just one has a paycheck attached to it and the other one produces all the humans that have ever been.
Yeah.
It's the most important job in the whole world, and we don't societally don't put enough value on it.
We take that person away from that little person they've just born, take them away and put them doing another job. Those women who are meant to be the best possible examples of mothering qualities, we just take them away. We take them away from the kid. Why would you take them away from the kid that needs it the most? That's just mad.
Yeah, it is.
And then you stick them in an office doing like HR shit and being all aggy with other people, being at home.
It's not your purpose.
Get in the kitchen.
But we've ran well over here, but it's been actually a really interesting insight into what makes you tick. And personally, thank you for everything that you've done for the gym.
And for you, you do more than you let on.
It's because you're like
you're like a night owl, aren't you? You get in early in the mornings, Monday to Friday, and you get it done. It's been busy recently in the mornings, hasn't it?
Really good, yeah.
Mannaz MMA, come down.
There'll be links.
First 3 for free. Every day of the week.
Very good ad.
Yeah.
Before we go, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you want to leave with? Any lasting ideas?
It will good.
You did really well then.
Did I?
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Was it better than you thought?
Better than I thought. It's not so much. We didn't actually speak about anything to do with my proper
Absolutely
job.
Nothing. Yeah.
But,
I mean, it was deep. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did.
Was it valuable?
I feel like maybe we should do this, and I give you full permission that you don't know. I don't know you're recording me. So I can imagine I'd say a lot better shit. And then we'll listen to it back. I'll give you the okay.
Okay. We'll do a secret run. Cool. Brooke, you're amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.